Well, hey guys, it's Guido coming at you with a bit of a product review. So I've been getting into the flight sim stuff quite a bit. I bought a Wing HOTAS. I've got the throttle quadrant and the stick, and they've been sitting up here on the desk, which kind of feels like I'm looking through the stick there. Got the VR setup and all that. And one of the solutions, well, the coolest solution is you get a whole chair with the whole cockpit thing going on, which I'm not going to do. Got the old office chair here sitting in the office. So one of the solutions is you've got these clamps that will hold on to your table. I just shook the whole table, and it will lower the stick and the throttle down for you. So I looked into these things, and there were several options out there. I went on Amazon, started looking around, and I found a set that somebody else had identified as a good solution, and I went ahead and ordered it off of Amazon. So we're going to do a review on this thing right now, but most of this is a PSA. And I'm not going to show it to you all set up. Maybe I'll do that a little while later, or perhaps I'll add it onto the end of this video after I get done videotaping all this stuff. Videotaping? Are we videotaping now? Recording all of this stuff. I'm using videotape, fellas. I've got to. We'll see how that goes. But this initial part then is going to be talking about how this came to me, which I thought was kind of interesting and maybe a bit of a PSA for you guys. So let's take a look at what I ordered off of Amazon here, which was the two set the desk mount for the flight sim game joystick. This should have clued me in a little bit right here. Throttle and HOTAS systems compatible with these various things. Brand YAARHEJ. You click on that, it just takes you to another page. I'm not even really sure what that's supposed to be doing for you. And it may be a seller that has a lot of stuff that comes over. I'm assuming from China, but I don't know. Sometimes it's really hard to dig into these without wasting a whole bunch of time and figure out exactly what's going on here. Let me start off by saying I don't know, and I can't tell by looking at this if it was ever advertised as used, because I guarantee you that is what I got. Absolutely 100% a used piece of equipment. Here is the clamp system, and this is how it came, already assembled. If you take a look at the piece of paper, and I'll show you the directions when I go over to the table there, and we'll take a look at it. This is supposed to be all in pieces, and you assemble it yourself. Both of these were assembled to this level. So we'll take a look at that when we get there. But it was $83. Again, I don't know if it was supposed to be used from the beginning. Maybe it's my bad on that, but I can't tell anywhere from looking at this. In addition, there's protection plans available and whatnot. So sold by YAARHEJ, returnable until January 31st, 2024. Product support included. All right. You might say to yourself, Guido, why don't you just return it? I could do that, except that then I spend my time and efforts returning this thing, and then I have to futz around and drive out and drop it off. And some people may go, well, that's not really a big deal if you're really that irritated about it. It is to me. So I will tell you that my solution to these situations is, provided the product still works, and it looks like it's going to, with a couple exceptions. We'll talk about some of the issues with what I got. My general MO with this is I will not be ordering from these people again. And I will make this video discussing exactly what it was that they did and tried to get away with. And I assume to some extent they did get away with it because I'm going to keep it, right? And maybe they don't care at the end of the day, but I find it very irritating when companies do this because they really do count on you just kind of dealing with it. If you look at the reviews on this particular item, you will find some of the 1 stars and lowers. One other person at least said, you know what, I got used stuff. They sent me used stuff. The rest of them, it seemed to be okay. So for some reason, this company, YAARHEJ, decided to send me a used piece of equipment as opposed to a new one. And of course, they're assuming they'll get away with it. And the honest truth is, to some extent they are, because I'm going to go ahead and use it, but I will not be dealing with these people. I don't know why I would anyway, but they're on my list. All right. So let's go take a look at exactly what I got, because it's kind of comical, to be quite honest. All right, over to the table. So this was a 3-box event. This was the box that it came from Amazon, which looks like a fairly new box. So we'll put that to the side. No big deal with that. Then inside that box was another Amazon box which had some things floating around on the inside. And I have put them into the bags, but we have, I want to say 4 different bags. This is a bag of hardware, which I believe is the hardware for all the different types of controllers. But I don't know because it doesn't really indicate that. We'll get to that in a second. There was another bag that had a few things, which I've cleaned up a little bit. There was this bag, which was actually closed and had a few items in it, but clearly looks like it's been through it. Then there was this bag, which was open like that and had 1 or 2 things left in it, and I assume some of what was in it was floating around, but it's hard to tell. This bag was folded up around itself. It was open at the top and then folded inside of itself, so we got a lot of doodads in there. Now, this bag has pieces that are definitely required for putting this whole system together. Now, what you see here is I have put one of these together, more or less. So these elbows right here are what goes into the bottom of this and then holds on to the legs, hold on to that. So we've got some legs over here and they'll come out like this. So I've set this one up, but both this one and this one came assembled to that much assembly right there. And what you can see is we've got some dings, scrapes and scratches, burrs. This has obviously been used. You can actually see the places where it was cinched down, and every one of these is exactly the same. So this is definitely a used piece of equipment right here. These little screws and the holders kind of bolts, but also they slide into this section here. It's quite ingenious actually how it works. We're floating all over the place, and I actually don't have enough of these. I've got enough right now to do a full assembly of the elbows so I can put the 2 rails on here. What I don't have is enough of these guys. So you can see there's 3 hanging out there, and I've searched them around, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. Looks like I have enough of these, but I do not have enough of that size, and I will dump this out and check, but I've gone through this a couple times, and I don't think there's any more of that size in there. Also, I don't know why, but I have 2 of these. I believe there's only supposed to be 1 of each one of these, because if I go over here, oh, by the way, let's take a look at these instructions. You'll look how beat up these things are. I mean, this has been used. This is, these instructions are awesome. One thing that's super irritating is if you go to this section, it doesn't tell you how many of those you're supposed to have. Actually, it does, I guess. Nope, they're just numbered. So that's a number, not a number of how many of those you're supposed to have. You can see how it tells you to put all these things together. And honestly, I'm pretty sure you're only supposed to have 1 of these. Because there's 1, that's for the stick. And then for the throttle assembly, or for the throttle quadrant, it's these 2 braces, as you can see on that direction right there. And if you flop it over, then you'll see what is supposed to happen. That's the end game right there. And then of course it tells you all the different ones that it can be. And maybe it does send you 2 of these things, but I'm kind of suspecting not. And these definitely look used. If you take a look at them, they're just completely scratched and scraped, like there's been things put on there. It's been cinched down on and used. I seem to have the correct amount of these guys. Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't. 5. I have 7. And unless one's already on, I'm missing one. Looks like I'm going to need 8, right, at each end. So I'm down one of these dudes. So it's just not quite right, fellas. I've got enough rails. That's good. I've got, oh, good. I got 4 sets of these. I didn't even realize that. There you go. So this is just some kind of half-arsed attempt to throw a couple of these things together and hope that once you do that, I've got everything. So I suppose at the end of the day, maybe maybe it worked out well for me, fellas. Maybe, I got a good deal. I got almost, well, I wouldn't say 2 sets, but maybe call it 2.5. Possible that it comes like this. Maybe it's for people who want to set up 2 sticks, because I think it did talk about that, and maybe they want 2 throttle quadrant kind of things. Perhaps this thing comes with that much stuff, but there's no indication here of exactly whether that's true or not. Build your do-it-yourself position freely. So in this box, I didn't mention this. This is the inside box. Now this box has gone through the wars, fellas. This dude, he's taken some hits along the way. This was the inside box. I'm assuming when it was new, whenever that was, this was the box that it all came in, more or less. Like I said, some of it was floating around the bottom of this guy, but most of it was sort of in here. And of course, and there's no bags, guys. None of this stuff was wrapped in anything. The only bags were these little bags like that, and this one here. There was no other packaging. I'm showing you everything that it came. It just, when that box came in, it just went clankety clonkety clonk. That's exactly what it sounded like. There you go, guys. I'm going to set this thing up. I'll show you the setup once I get it all put together. The problem is I'm missing 2 of those, or 3. I'm going to need at least 3 or 4. I need 4 on one side. I need 8 of them, and I only have 3 of the screws. So I'm hoping I can go find some of those screws somewhere, or something adaptable or close enough that I can then set everything up. That's actually the biggest limb fact. At the end of the day, I have basically everything, and I might even have extra now that I've looked at it closer. Unfortunately, what I don't have is the exact amount of hardware that I need, so I'm a little bit short or shy on those short screws. So we'll have to find out, screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's more of a bolt than a screw. Is it a screw or a bolt? I don't know. I think it's a bolt. So that may require some digging around. Maybe I can find stuff like that online. I probably order it from this company called, where is it? Yarhedge, Y-A-R-H-E. Geez, I order it from those guys. Maybe they'll send me 800 of them. I don't know. So buyer beware, fellas. On Amazon, definitely got this thing used. Kind of a weird situation. Perhaps it was advertised as used. I don't see it on there. I might have missed it. I don't know. But there you have it. You guys have a great one. That's my product review on this. It seems to be a great product, to be honest. I just don't appreciate it coming in the shape it came in. It was absolutely ridiculous. A box inside of a box with crap just flying all around, all scratched up and used. That's pretty crummy. But the design and how it works actually looks pretty good. So I'm sort of excited to get it together and hopefully make it work out for my sim setup. That's all I've got. We will see ya.